Welcome back, YouTube. I am your humble host, Crime Time. Today, we're talking about the infamous serial killer, Aileen Wuornos, who is an American serial killer. This story, I actually watched her prison interview that maybe half a month ago. Um, you would have never knew that a person is a serial killer until you sit there and really watch their interview. You would have never think that they're a serial killer until you watch the film. Now, Aileen Wuornos was born on February 29th, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. She died October the 9th, 2002 in Florida State Prison. Her spouse is Louis Gates Fell from 1976 to 1976. Parents is Diane Wuornos, Irene Pirelli, Leo Dale Pittman, Larry Wuornos, Rita Wuornos. Robert Farrell. Cause of death was execution by lethal injection. Resting place, she was cremated, scattered in Fostoria, Tuscaloosa County, Michigan. She was convicted of 6 counts of first-degree murder in January 27th, 1992, April 1992, June 1992, June 1993. Criminal penalties 6 death sentences. 7 victims. She was apprehended January 9th, 1991. She was imprisoned at Florida State Prison. Aileen Wuornos was born. Aileen Wuornos, born Pittman, February 29, 1956 to October 9, 2002, was an American serial killer. In 1989 to 1990, while engaging in street prostitution along highways in Florida, she shot dead and robbed 7 of her male clients. Wuornos claimed that her clients had either raped or attempted to rape her and that all of the homicides were committed in self-defense. Wuornos was sentenced to death for 6 of the murders on October 9, 2002. After 12 years on Florida's death row, she was executed by lethal injection. In the biography film Monster 2003, Wuornos' story described from her first murder into execution. For her portrayal of Wuornos, Charles E. Theron won the Academy Award for Best Actress. So now I want to talk about her life, her early criminal activity, the murders, the arrest and trial, the death row and execution, the physiology model, and media. See also references, cited sources, and external links. So her early life. Wuornos was born Aileen Carol Pittman in Rochester, Michigan, on February 29, 1956. Her mother, Diane Wuornos, born 1993, was 14 years old when she married Aileen's father, 18-year-old Leo Dale Pittman. From 1936 to 1969, on June 3, 1954, and March 4, 1955, Diane gave birth to Aileen's older brother, Keith, after less than 2 years of marriage and 2 months before Aileen was born. Diane filed for divorce. She gave birth to Aileen at the age of 16. Wuornos never met her father as he was incarcerated at the time of her birth. Leo Pittman was diagnosed with schizophrenia. He was later convicted for raping a 7-year-old girl. He committed suicide by hanging in prison on January 30th, 1969, and January of 1960, when Wuornos was almost 4 years old. Diane abandoned her children, leaving them with their maternal grandparents. Lori and Britta Wuornos, both alcoholics, who allegedly adopted Keith and Aileen on March 18, 1960. By the age of 11, Wuornos began engaging in sexual activities in school in exchange for cigarettes, drugs, and food. She has also engaged in sexual activities with her brother. Wuornos said her alcoholic grandfather had sexually assaulted and beaten her when she was a child. Before beating her, she would force her to strip out of her clothes. In 1970, at the age of 14, she became pregnant, having been raped by a friend of her grandfather. Wuornos gave birth to a boy at home for unwed mothers on March 23, 1971, and the child was placed for adoption. A few months after her son was born, she dropped out of school at about the same time that her grandmother died of liver failure. When Wuornos was 15, her grandmother threw her out of the house, and she began supporting herself through prostitution and living in the woods near her old home. Early criminal activities. On May 27, 1974, at the age of 18, Wuornos was arrested in Jefferson County, Colorado, for driving under the influence, disorderly conduct, and firing a .22 caliber pistol from a moving vehicle. She was later charged with failure to appear. In 1976, Wuornos hijacked the Florida, where she met 69-year-old yacht club president Louis Gratz-Field. They married quickly, and the announcement of their nuptials was printed in the local newspaper. Society pages, however, Wuornos constantly involved herself in confrontations at the local bar and went to jail briefly for assault. She also hit Phil with his own cane, leading him to get a restraining order against her for 3 weeks of the marriage. She returned to Michigan, where on July 14, 1976, she was arrested at Bernie's Club in Montalona and Antrim County and charged with assault and disturbing the peace for throwing a cue ball at a bartender's head. On July 17, her brother Keith died of esophageal cancer, and Wuornos received $10,000 from his life insurance. Wuornos and Phil ended their marriage on July 21st. After only 9 weeks, in August of 1976, Wuornos has given a $105 fine for drunk driving. She used the money inherited from her brother to pay the fine and spent the rest of the 2 months buying luxuries, including a new car, which she wrecked shortly afterwards. In 1978, at the age of 22, she attempted suicide by shooting herself in the stomach. Between the age of 14 and 22, she attempted to suicide 6 times. On May 20, 1981, Wuornos was arrested in Edgewater, Florida, for armed robbery of a convenience store, where she stole $35 and 2 packs of cigarettes. She was sentenced to prison on May 4, 1982, and released on June 30, 1983. On May 1, 1984, Wuornos was arrested for attempting to pass forged checks at a bank in Key West on November 30, 1985. She was named as a suspect in the theft of a revolver and ammunition in Pasco County. On January 4, 1986, Wuornos was arrested in Miami and charged with car theft, resisting arrest, and obstruction of justice for providing identification bearing her aunt's name. Miami police officer found a .38 caliber revolver and a box of ammunition in the stolen car. On June 2, 1986, On June 2, 1986, Volusia County deputy sheriffs detained Wuornos for questioning after a male companion accused her of putting a gun in his car and demanding $200. Wuornos was found to be carrying spare ammunition, and police discovered a .22 pistol under the passenger seat she had occupied. In 1986, a 30-year-old Wuornos met 24-year-old Tyree Moore at a hotel maid at a Daytona Beach gay bar called Zodiac. They moved in together, and Wuornos supported them with her earnings as a prostitute. On July 4, 1987, Daytona Beach police detained Wuornos and Moore at the bar for questioning regarding an incident in which they were accused of assault and battery with a beer bottle. On March 12, 1988, Wuornos accused a Daytona Beach bus driver of assault. She claimed that he pushed her off the bus following a confrontation. Moore was listed as a witness to the incident. Later at her trial, Wuornos stated it was love beyond imaginable. Earthly words cannot describe how I felt about Tyree. Before her execution, Wuornos claimed to still be in love with more. Murders. Wuornos murdered 7 men within a period of 12 months. All the men were drivers between the ages of 40 to 65. Richard Charles Mallory, age 51, who was an electronics store owner in Clearwater. November 30th, 1989 was the murder. Wuornos claimed that Mallory beat, raped, and sodomized her after he drove her to an abandoned area for sexual services. Mallory was Wuornos' first victim, and she claimed to have killed him in self-defense. Later it became known that Mallory had previously been convicted for attempted rape in Maryland. 2 days after the murder, a Volusia County deputy found Mallory's abandoned vehicle on December 13th. His body was found several miles away in a wooded area. He had been shot several times and 2 bullets to the left lung were found to have been the cause of death. David Andrew Spears, age 47. Construction worker in Winter Garden, he was declared missing as of May 19th, 1990. On June 1st, 1990, his naked body was found along U.S. Route 19 in Florida in Citrus County. He had been shot 6 times by a .22 pistol. Charles Edmund Cuscaden, age 40, part-time rodeo worker. Date of murder was May 31st, 1990. On June 6, 1990, his body was found in Pasco County. He had been shot 9 times with a .22 caliber pistol. The body has been wrapped in an electric blanket and was barely decomposed when found. Witness saw Wuornos in possession of Cuscaden's car, and Wuornos has also pawned a gun identified as belonging to Cuscaden. Peter Abraham Sims, age 65, retired mechanic seaman. In June 1990, Sims left Jupiter, Florida for Arkansas on July 4th, 1990. His car was found in Orange Springs, Florida. Moore and Wuornos were seen abandoning the car, and Wuornos' palm print was found on the interior door handle. His body was never found. Troy Eugene Burris, age 50, sausage salesman from Ocala, Florida. On July 31st, 1990, he was reported missing. On August 4th, 1990, his body was found in a wooded area along State Road 19 in Marion County. He had been shot twice. Charles Richard Dick Humphreys, age 56, a retired U.S. Air Force major, former state child abuse investigator, and former chief of police. Date of murder September 11th, 1990. And on September 12th, 1990, his body was found in Marion County. He was fully clothed and had been shot 7 times in the head and torso. His car was found in Suwannee County. Walter Gino Antonio, age 62, trucker, security guard, and reserve police officer. On November 19, 1990, Antonio's nearly naked body was found near a remote logging road in Dixie County. He had been shot 4 times. 5 days later, his car was found in Brevard County. Arrests and trials. On July 4th, 1990, Wuornos and Moore abandoned victim Peter Sims' car after they were involved in an incident. Rhonda Bailey, who witnessed the incident, provided police with a description of 2 women, resulting in a media campaign to locate them. Police also found some of the victims' belongings in the pawn shops. Wuornos' fingerprints that was found on a receipt at one of the pawn shops matched the print that was left in Sims' car. Wuornos had a criminal record in Florida, and samples of her prints were in the database. On January 9, 1991, Wuornos was arrested on an outstanding warrant at the Last Resort Biker Bar in Volusia County. Police located Moore the next day in Scranton, Pennsylvania. She agreed to elicit a confession from Wuornos in exchange for immunity. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Police located Moore the next day in Scranton, Pennsylvania. She agreed to elicit a confession from Wuornos to exchange for immunity from prosecution. Moore returned with the police to Florida, where she was put up in a motel under police guidance. She made numerous telephone calls to Wuornos, pleading for help and clearing her name. 3 days later, on January 16, 1991, Wuornos confessed to the murders. She was claimed the men had tried to rape her and she killed them in self-defense. In November of 1991, Wuornos was legally adopted by 44-year-old Aileen Wuornos, who saw her photo in a newspaper. On January 4th, 1992, Wuornos went to trial for the murder of Richard Charles Mellor. Although previously convicted normally inadmissible in criminal trials. Under Florida's Williams rule, the prosecution was allowed to introduce evidence related to her other crimes to show a pattern of illegal activity. On January 27, 1992, Wuornos was convicted of Mellor murder with help from Moore's testimony. At his sentencing, psychiatrists for the defense testified that Wuornos was mentally unstable and diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder and initial personality disorder. 4 days later, she was sentenced to death. Wuornos' defense made efforts during the trial to introduce evidence that Mellor was previously convicted for attempted rape in Maryland and served a sentence in a maximum security correctional facility providing remediation to sexual offenders. Records obtained from the correctional institution show that from 1958 to 1962, Mellor was committed for treatment and observation, resulting from a criminal charge of assault with intent to rape and received an overall 8 years of treatment from the facility in 1961. It was observed of Mr. Mellor that he possessed strong sociopathic trends. However, the judge refused to allow the records to be admitted in court as evidence and denied Wuornos' request for a new trial. On March 31st, 1992, Wuornos pleaded no contest to murders of Charles Richard Humphrey, Troy Eugene Burroughs, and David Andrew Spears, saying she wanted to get right with God. In a statement to the court, she said, "I want to confess to you that Richard Mellor did violently rape me, as I've told you, but these others did not." Only began to start on May 15, 1992. Wuornos was given 3 more death sentences. In June 1992, Wuornos pleaded guilty to the murder of Charles Edmund Costigan. In November of 1993, she received her 5th death sentence. In February of 1993, Wuornos pleaded guilty to the murder of Walter Gino Antonio and was sentenced to death again. No charges were brought against her for the murder of Peter Abramson, as his body was never found. Wuornos received 6 death sentences. Wuornos told several inconsistent stories about the killings. She claimed initially that all 7 men had raped her while she was working as a prostitute, but later recanted the claim of self-defense, citing robbery and a desire to leave no witness as reason for the murder. During an interview with filmmaker Nick Greenfield, the woman thought the police were off. She told him that it was in fact self-defense, but she could not stand being on death row, but she had been for 10 years at that point and wanted to die. Assessed using physical checklist, Wuornos scored 32 out of 40, with the cutoff score of 30 for determining psychiatric. The checklist evaluates individuals on a 20-item list of intentional and interpersonal behaviors, with each item being scored as 0, 1, or 2, with maximum score of 4. Death row and execution. Being on death row. Wuornos was incarcerated at the Florida Department of Correction Borough Correctional Institution. Death row for women, then transferred to the Florida State Prison for execution. Her appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court was denied in 1996 in a 2001 petition to the Florida Supreme Court. She stated her intention to dismiss her legal counsel and tell all pending appeals. I killed those men, she wrote. Ride them as cold as ice, and I'll do it again, too. There's no chance of keeping me alive or anything, because I've heard again. I've hate crawling through my system. I'm so sick of hearing this. She's crazy stuff. I've been evaluated so many times and competent, saying and I'm trying to tell the truth. I'm one who seriously hates human life and will kill again. But attorneys argued that she was not mentally competent to make such a request. Wuornos insisted that she knew what she was doing, and a court-appointed panel of psychiatrists agreed. In 2002, Wuornos began accusing prison matrons of tainting her food with dirt, saliva, and urine. She said she had overheard conversations among prison personnel trying to get me so pushed over the brink by them. I wound up committing suicide before the execution and wishing to rape me before the execution. She also complained of strip searches, tight handcuffing, door kicking, frequent window checks, low water pressure, mildew on her mattress, and cat calling, and disgust and pure hatred towards him. Wuornos threatened to boycott showers and food trays when sent off his own duty. In the meantime, my stomach grinding away and I'm taking showers to the sink of my cell. Her attorney stated that Miss Wuornos would just wanted to have proper treatment. Humane treatment until that day she's executed, he added. She believes what she's written. In the weeks before execution, Wuornos gave a series of interviews to Bloomberg and talked about being taken away to meet God and Jesus and the angels and whatever is beyond the beyond. In her final interview, she once again charged that her mind was tortured at BCI and her head crushed by sonic pressure, food poisonings, and other abuse worsened. She said each time she complained, with the goal of making her appear insane or to drive her insane. She also turned on her interview. You sabotage my ass, society, the cops, and the system. A raped woman got executed and was used in books and movies and shit. My final on-cam words were thank a lot, society, for reloading my ass. Dawn Botkins, a childhood friend of Wuornos, later told Bloomberg that her Bible abuse neglected as society and the media in general, not specifically. Execution and death. Wuornos' execution took place on October 9, 2002. She declined her last meal, which could have been anything under $20, after for a cup of coffee instead. Her last words were, yes, I would just like to say I'm sorry. Her last words were, yes, I would just like to say I'm sorry. With the rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus, June 6th, like the movie. Big mother shit and all. I'll be back. She died at 9:47 a.m. She was the second woman in Florida and the 10th in the United States to be executed since the 1976 United States Supreme Court decision restoring capital punishment. After her death, Wuornos' body was cremated. Wuornos' ashes were scattered beneath a tree in her native Michigan. By Wuornos' childhood friend Dawn Botkins, at Wuornos' request, Natalia Merchant's song Carnival from her album Taboo was played at her funeral. Wuornos spent many hours listening to this album on death row. When Merchant found out about it, she gave permission to use the song in the closing credits of Nick Wingfield's documentary, Alan's Life and Death of the Serial Killer. When director Nick Wingfield sent a written edit of the film, I was still disturbed by the subject matter that I couldn't even watch it. Aileen Wuornos led a torturing life that is beyond my worst nightmares. It wasn't until I was told that I moved from many artists to my album, Terribly, while on death row and requested Carnival by player at her funeral that I did Permission for the use of the sun is the eye to think other places. My music can go once it leaves my hands. If it gave her some solace, it has to be grateful. Then put a letter substituted on one's motive instead of mine. I think that this anger developed inside her, and she was working as a prostitute. I think she had a lot of awful encounters on the road, and I think the anger just split out from inside her and finally exploded into incredible violence. That was her way of surviving. I think Aileen really believed that she had killed in self-defense. I think someone who's deeply psychotic can really tell the difference between something that is life-threatening and something that is a minor disagreement. That you could say something that she can't agree with. She got into a screaming black temper about it, and I think that what had caused these things to happen. And at the same time, when she was in those extreme moods, it was an incredible community to her.
Continue. Okay.
That's Aileen Wuornos. Here is the news video.
Choose your character.
The dark woods of Florida's highways. It was down dirt roads like this that 7 men met the madness, one angry woman. Lee Wuornos murdered them, robbed them, and then drove home in their cars.
These men were shot, just shot. Exhausted, boom, boom, boom. You know, they weren't cut up, they weren't sliced up, no OJ jazz, you know. And he said, I did the most horrendous crime in the whole wide world.
Not true?
I guess not. All they were was shot and left. If it was a horrendous crime, why didn't I shoot them between the eyes, cut their penis off, stick it in their mouth, you know, do all kinds of gross stuff. All they were was shot and left, you know.
She's been called the damsel of death and the hooker from hell. But embellishment aside, the story of history's first female serial killer is macabre enough, even without its supporting cast of characters.
Oh, yes. I'm a public defender.
First, there's Lee Wuornos' lawyer. She's given him the job of getting her to the electric chair.
You want to plead out? That's what I'm all about. Just sign this no contest plea.
Then there's the serial killer's new mother. She first met Lee after her arrest, and then legally adopted her.
Sheba. You know, we believe in the Holy Spirit, and so we feel it was him prompting us that this person really needed help, and she had nobody, and just reach out to her. So we did.
I met her in a bar.
And there's Lee's gay lover, who betrayed her to the police.
We were sitting on the floor watching TV, and she just come out and said, I have something to tell you. And I asked her what, and she said that she had shot and killed a man that day.
Lee, it sounds like you've been betrayed by everyone.
That's right, I was. That's why I don't care if I'm executed and leave this planet.
It If anyone was destined to end up here on death row, it was probably Lee Wuornos. Psychologists sketch a portrait of a damaged person with a lurid history of abuse that began in childhood. Abandoned by her teenage mother when she was just 6 months old, Lee was raised by her alcoholic grandmother and a cruel grandfather who regularly beat her with his belt buckle. When she was 2, her father committed suicide in jail, where he was doing time for kidnapping and raping a child. By 13, she'd been raped and was pregnant. At 14, she quit school. And when her grandfather kicked her out of home, Lee Wuornos' life on the road began. From age 15, Lee Wuornos worked prostitution's lowest and most dangerous trade. A hitchhiking hooker turning tricks from exit to exit on Florida's interstate highways.
Basically, I'd say I have 5 to 6 guys per day interested. They could be interested in 30, they could be interested in 40, they could be interested for 100. I wasn't too high priced, so I could keep the customers satisfied.
That all changed when she turned 33, after years of abuse and degradation at the hands of men.
Okay, my commentary. People, how should I say this? You know, people can go through trauma after significant abuse in a household, but it's still not the personal right to go out and kill people. If you're being abused, there's options that Aileen Wuornos could have took. A counselor, she could have got professional help. Not in here. She could have spoke. Just a matter about it, you know. But Aileen Wuornos, obviously, a person who didn't care about life. In the interview, to say that if she had the opportunity to leave prison and kill again, that she'll kill again. Dangerous woman. Dangerous. It's you know, that's seems like a personal problem. But you can't get around killing people and think that you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Back then, the system was different back then. If you committed serious crimes back then, you got the death penalty. Because back then, crime was taken so serious back then. Today, in today's day and age, crime is still taken seriously, but you have a lot of people who are getting out of prison, you know, on plea deals. Back then, there wasn't plea deals. If you was convicted of killing somebody, you was looking at life in prison or the death penalty. So back then, from now, it's totally different. You know, I just don't understand what drives somebody to kill, you know. If you're going through a trauma, a hurt, a pain, talk to somebody. Don't take matters in your own hands and go and kill people. You know, just not what it is. They don't look good, you know. Aileen Wuornos I just don't know. Like, and to say that you can't wait to die, you can't wait to get executed. I mean, just I think this one soul in her body. Don't care about nothing. That's a monster. That's a monster. That's a real monster. That comes to stop. That comes to stop. That comes.